Okay, the third part of grade 12 biology, microbiology, unit 2. We have been seeing cell structure, and we have reached to the cell envelope. Particularly, we were discussing in the second part of this unit about cell wall. Therefore, what makes the cell wall important as far as bacteriology is concerned is that we do have one mechanism to differentiate, categorize bacteria into two major categories. That is gram staining. Gram staining. Difference in gram staining is because of the difference in the structural and chemistry of the cell wall of uh, two groups of bacteria. We shall see that one. Gram staining. Staining or Graham's method is a method of staining used to classify bacterial species into two large groups, gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Of course, stains or laboratory dyes are chemicals which do have their own color and which impart some color to some part of a cell. These are very important in order to characterize bacteria, especially when it comes to bacterial staining. Gram staining is renowned, well-known mechanism because it is differential staining technique because of the fact that it can help us differentiate between gram positive and gram negative. This tells indirectly too about their gram reaction, their difference in their cell wall is the result of the difference in gram staining. We shall see. The name comes from the Danish bacteriologist Hans Christian Gram, as I've tried to show you the last slide, who developed the technique in 1884. And gram staining is a differential staining technique and means it helps differentiate bacteria as gram positive and gram negative. Two categories. Let us see what we do in gram staining. Of course, we do have two types of stains that we apply one after the other, and there are some procedures. Let us see. First, after mounting, after putting the sample bacteria onto glass slide, and then on Bunsen burner, heat fixing, you kill bacteria to be fixed, non-motile, to be fixed to one part of the slide, we kill it. Just heat fixing. Therefore, mounting, then heat fixing. Just mount onto the glass slide. The bacteria mounted onto the glass slide are fixed to the glass slide by brief heating. The major steps then, after you do this, the major steps are, there are four major steps. After this, there are four major steps in gram staining. One, we apply crystal violet. Crystal violet. This is uh, uh, in its dilute form. It is purple in color. We use dilute crystal violet. We apply to the bacteria from different sources this crystal violet staining, and apply the primary stain. This is known as also primary stain, crystal violet, which gives purple color to the bacteria. You see, we apply it. Therefore, after crystal violet application, every bacteria becomes purple in its color. The second step, apply iodine solution or the mordant. This iodine solution is not a stain, it is a mordant which reacts with the crystal violet. Therefore, it produces crystal violet iodine complex, and it helps the crystal violet to stay in the cell wall. It keep it fixed in the cell wall. So it stabilizes the crystal violet not to be washed away or leave the cell wall. It's a mordant. Then iodine is applied to promote dye retention. The dye is retained. The dye is the stain. The stain is made to stay in the cell wall. If you apply iodine, unless iodine is applied, it may be washed away out of the cell wall. And therefore, this is mordant. Iodine, we apply iodine. The second step, the third step, not before we move to the third step. After the first or second step, all the bacteria appear purple under the microscope because of the crystal violet dye or crystal violet iodine complex trapped in the cell wall. You see? Then the third is decolorization. Let's try to remove by applying either ethanol or aceton or 50-50 mixture of ethanol aceton. And when we apply this decolorizing agent can only wash 100% of the primary stain or the primary stain iodine complex from one group of bacteria, but it can't remove totally from the other groups. Therefore, you can see here. Then ethanol or acetone is applied as decolorizer, and here the ethanol or acetone solution washes out the stain from some group of bacteria, but not from other groups. You see, here is the difference because of the cell wall, difference in the cell structure. And we shall come to from which bacteria can this decolorizer wash out and make them colorless, and from which it can't wash out totally. Of course, this decolorizer, ethanol or acetone or a mixture of these two, will wash easily the crystal violet iodine complex from the peptidoglycan layer of gram-negative bacteria. Gram-negative bacteria. It can't wash because gram-negative bacteria have very thin cell wall. It's very thin. Therefore, it is simple to wash. It is very simple to wash small clothes. You are washing bulky clothes. The cell wall peptidoglycan layer of gram-positive bacteria is very thick, 20 to 80 nanometers thickness. Therefore, this is the reason. Then finally, the secondary stain or counter stain, which is known as safranin. Usually, safranin is applied, which gives red or pink color to some bacteria. Therefore, those bacteria from which the color, the iodine, the ethanol or acetone has removed the primary color, will now accept the secondary color and appear red or pink, whereas the other which were not decolorized, the gram positive, because of thick peptidoglycan layer, not decolorized by alcohol, will not accept additional because the cell wall has been occupied by the crystal violet. They remain purple. You see, this is the difference. Now, conclusion. The bacteria that retained the primary crystal dye or crystal violet and remained purple are called gram-positive, whereas those from which the purple dye has been removed by the decolorizer and counter-stained with the secondary dye, safranin, are called gram-negative. You can see the diagrammatic picture depiction gram-positive. First, both are gram-negative, gram-positive, colorless. Crystal violet, both became purple after addition of special iodine. Then alcohol or acetone for 10 minutes, 10 seconds. Gram positive retains the purple color. Gram negative, the primary color has been washed down. Now they are colorless. Again, the secondary stain. Gram positive bacteria are stained the secondary, the primary stain purple. I'm sorry for not showing you. I'm blocking in the diagram. I'm blocking it. I'll try to make another video for this. And the gram-negative bacteria again take the red, the pink color that you observe at the top. Therefore, at the end of gram staining, gram-negative bacteria appear pink. Remove the primary stain and take up the secondary stain. This is, you can see, of course, you can see when I rotate it, you have seen the pink color. Reason for the difference in gram stain, gram reaction. I have told you the reason is the cell wall difference, you see. The difference in gram reaction between the two groups of bacteria is due to the difference in their cell wall. When bacteria are treated with ethanol in the decolorization step, the alcohol is taught to shrink the pores of the thick peptidoglycan found in the cell walls of most gram-positive bacteria, causing the peptidoglycan to act as a permeability barrier that prevents loss of crystal violet. You see, the crystal violet will not be washed out of the cell wall of the gram-positive bacteria. And thus, the diiodine complex is retained during the decolorization step and the bacteria remain purple, gram-positive bacteria. In contrast, the peptidoglycan in gram-negative cell wall is very thin, not as highly cross-linked, and has larger pores. What does it mean? It can be easily washed. Okay? Therefore, when you are asked why gram reaction difference between gram positive and gram negative, gram positive do have thick cell wall. Once it accepts the primary stain, the purple, the alcohol can't wash it out. The crystal violet iodine complex will be highly stuck into that huge cell wall, and so that it's difficult to wash it out, dissolve it, to wash it out. Whereas the cell wall peptidoglycan layer of gram-negative bacteria is very thin, very thin. The alcohol can easily wash out of the gram-negative bacteria, so that gram-negative bacteria lose the primary color and accept the secondary color. Comparison. Let's compare gram-negative, gram-positive bacteria based on different. Therefore, the first is staining properties. Staining properties you can observe. How can you classify how can you characterize cell wall? Compare cell wall of gram-positive, gram-negative based on staining properties. Yes, gram-negative bacteria after Gram's staining will appear pink or red, take up the secondary stain, whereas gram-positive bacteria remain purple after the secondary stain. This is a difference. Gram-positive bacteria retain the crystal violet stain used in the gram staining process, appearing purple under a microscope. This is due to their thick peptidoglycan layer, which traps the dye. Gram-negative bacteria do not retain the crystal violet stain and instead take up a counter stain. The counter stain is usually safranin, appearing pink. This is because their thinner peptidoglycan layer is unable to hold the dye after decolorization. The second criteria that we compare is cell wall structure. Of course, gram-positive bacteria have a thick peptidoglycan layer, 20 to 80 nanometer thick, lack an outer lipid membrane, whereas gram-negative do have additional outer, very thin peptidoglycan. Then, outside of the peptidoglycan layer, there is a phospholipid bilayer, inside which there are many different proteins, lipopolysaccharides, and porins are inserted, which are considered as endotoxins. Of course, they lack, gram-positive lack, an outer lipid membrane, often associated with teichoic acids and lipoteichoic acids. These are not found in gram-negative, which are important for cell wall maintenance and regulation. Gram-negative bacteria, when it comes to gram-negative bacteria, of course, possess a thin peptidoglycan, which is 80 to 10 nanometers thick, very much thin, of course, possess an outer lipid membrane composed of lipopolysaccharides, and there are special types of proteins which do have pores, known as porins, for transport of materials into and out of the gram-negative bacteria, of course. Therefore, lipopolysaccharides are especially the most important molecules attached to the outer phospholipid bilayer and considered as antigenic. These are the most important, considered as endotoxins, because they are antigenic. They stimulate the white blood, our immune system, to produce antibodies and inflammatory chemicals so that inflammation may occur. Thus, outer membrane acts as a barrier to certain antibiotics and detergents due to the presence of the outer phospholipid membrane. acts as a barrier to certain antibiotics. Even these gram-negative bacteria are resistant to antibiotics because their outer membrane prevents the entry of antibiotics in order to kill the bacterium. Therefore, barrier to certain antibiotics and detergents, contributing to their increased resistance, drug resistance, gram-negative bacteria. And gram-negative bacteria have very thin peptide nucleotide plus additional lipid layer. Now let us come to this is it, what you observe here, the cell wall. To the left, the cell wall, very thick peptidoglycan. You can see there to the right, very thin peptidoglycan. I have given you the diagram of outer membrane. Outer membrane is phospholipid bilayer, inside which there are different proteins like porins, surface proteins, lipopolysaccharides, LPS. Therefore, many proteins, non-protein chemical like lipopolysaccharides contain what? Different antigens. I have even given you the lipopolysaccharide structure separately up there. Therefore, try to compare and contrast in detail the chemistry of the cell wall of this structural as well as biochemical difference. For example, biochemical difference, very thick peptidoglycan in gram-positive bacteria, whereas very thin peptidoglycan. Additional peptidoglycan in gram-negative. Additional phospholipid bilayer outside of the peptidoglycan in case of gram-negative, whereas there is no additional phospholipid. Therefore, let's go comparing using another criteria. You can see this is also another depiction of the cell wall of gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Another, let's compare pathogenicity and toxins. You see, gram-positive often release exotoxins. They release chemicals from their cytoplasm out, which stimulate our immune system or immune reaction, which are proteins that can damage host tissues and disrupt immune system immune response. Gram-negatives typically known for their potent endotoxins, especially the parts of lipopolysaccharides which are part of the outer lipid layer. They can be sensed as antigenic. Also, when the bacterium dies and disintegrates and its parts are broken, the outer membrane is also broken. Lipopolysaccharides are released. They stimulate inflammatory reaction in the body. Anyway, they are endogenous part of this outer membrane, so that they are considered as endotoxin. Therefore, gram-positive are well known by exotoxins, whereas gram-negative by endotoxins. Antibiotic, in terms of antibiotic resistance, these two groups, gram-positive generally more susceptible to antibiotics that target the peptidoglycan, such as penicillin, whereas however, some strains have developed, of course, resistance still, yeah. Whereas gram-negative more resistant to antibiotics due to their outer membrane. You see, they do not allow the entry of some antibiotic drugs into. Therefore, unless it enters into crosses the outer membrane, outer phospholipid membrane, and enters inside, it can't inhibit the enzymes that produce cell wall, so that it will not kill the bacterium, and therefore gram-negative are much more known to be drug resistant than gram-positives. They often require different class of antibiotics for treatment. Therefore, you can't apply for gram-negative for gram-negatives. Cell wall inhibitors may not be effective. So we have to design, because the outer phospholipid bilayer will not allow the entry of these drugs. Therefore, we have to design other antibiotics or combination of antibiotics to treat diseases caused by gram-negative bacteria. Some examples of gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria you can see here. You have to know at least those listed here. Gram-positive bacteria, Bacillus, which are rods, of course, rod-shaped, gram-positive bacteria, Bacillus, Listeria, Actinomyces, Nocardia, Clostridium, Corynebacterium, and diphtheria. Okay, Corynebacterium, diphtheria, of course. These are pathogenic, all except actinomycetes. Of course, actinomycetes are not that known as pathogen. They are known as antibiotic producing microbes or bacteria, of course. Gram-positive cocci, spherical streptococcus, staphylococcus, enterococcus, lactococci, and viridans. Of course, except Nigeria, all cocci are gram-positive. Nigeria are gram-negative cocci. We shall come to that category. Gram-negative cocci are this one, Nigeria and Moraxella. Gram-negative rods, Shigella, Escherichia, Yersinia, Pseudomonas, Legionella, Enterobacter, Klebsiella, Salmonella. All these are belong to gram-negative. Lots of gram-negative rods are pathogens, of course. And this is the second, I think, the second part of the unit 2. I mean, the third part, the third lesson of unit 2. Thank you very much. I will come with another lesson. Thank you.